Hello YouTube. Today I'll be showing you guys how to make a Caesar cipher in C++. A Caesar cipher is basically a cipher that takes the alphabet and shifts it left or right by a certain amount of letters, named after Julius Caesar, who was supposed to be the first person to use it in recorded history. So, it's pretty easy. According to the Wikipedia page, you can just use modular arithmetic, but I can't figure that out in C++, and I had to do mod arithmetic in C++. It doesn't work for some reason with characters, or I'm just not doing it right. So I'll show you guys how to do it using a loop. So first off, go ahead and include our default headers, iostream, and I'm going to use strings as well. And then using namespace standard. So first let's make a string to hold our input, and then two integers, one to hold a count variable, which will initialize to 0, and then length, which will be the length of the string that the user inputs. Do a simple cout statement asking the user to enter their text. So like so, and then we'll just do a get line to put what they type out, all of it into the string, including spaces. Alright, now I'm going to set the length variable to however long input is, which you can do just by doing calling its member function. And we're just going to make it an int before we set it to length, just so the compiler doesn't yell at you. Because I do believe length is an unsigned long integer, so that's fine. Just doing that is fine. Or you don't have to put this there if you don't want it. Anyway, so now we got all of the information from the user. Now we're just going to go and loop through. So we're going to do a for loop. You can do count equals 0 here. If you're familiar with for loops. Count is less than length, and then count plus plus. But of course you don't need this here since it's already up here, so you can just delete that if you want to. It doesn't matter, you can put it there. I'll just keep it for sake of keeping it there. Now we're going to make this work both ways. So basically we're going to be shifting the alphabet 13 spaces each time, because 13 is half of 26. So if you shift it 13 to encrypt it, and you shift that encrypted piece 13 more spaces, it'll go back to the original. So this way you don't have to input like your encryption number at all, but then again, this is probably one of the easiest ones to crack. Anyway, so this loop right here is going to be looping through every letter of the phrase. So we need to check to make sure each character is part of the alphabet. So we're going to do is alpha sorry. There. Okay, so is alpha checks. We're working on input, and then input and inside braces count. So this would be the first time this loop goes through would be input 0, which will be the first character of input, which is what they put in. So Now, if this is a character, then all we're going to do is make another for loop. And this for loop will go through and run 13 times. So it's going to be moving the character that's in input count 13 times. But first, we need to check to see if we are at the end of the alphabet by the time we get here. So that way we don't want to go running off the end of the alphabet. So if we're at the end of the alphabet, then Z goes to A. Sorry. Otherwise, if we're not there yet, then we just do input count plus plus. So that increments it. So if it's an A, it goes to a B. Also, something else I forgot. I'm going to put them to lower. So I'm going to take any capital letters and make them lowercase just for the sake. I think an uppercase A has a different code than a lowercase a. I don't know. I just think it'd probably be a good idea to do. So you can see what happens if you don't put this line. So I'm just going to set input of count to that. So that returns the lowercase of that. So that's pretty much it. That'll shift it over 13 spots. And then you can just display the results. Like so. And let's test it out. Alright, so here's the output. You see it keeps all of the non-alpha characters, so the exclamation points and the apostrophes. So I'm going to copy this, I'm going to run the program again and enter it as my phrase and hit enter. And there you go. Your Caesar cipher automatic by shifting it over 13 characters. You can change this number right here to shift over however many characters you want it to shift over. Change it like 3 or 4. But remember, if you change it to something other than 13, to decrypt it, you're going to have to do it again and go backwards. So you'd have to have 2 of these for loops. One for encrypting and one for decrypting. And in the one for decrypting, you're going to want to make these minus minus, and you're going to want to make this, if it's an A, go to Z, because you're going to be going backwards. But it works fine in 13 by shifting in 13. So there you go, guys. I hope this was informative, and happy encrypting.